They're moving in herds. They do move in herds. Rams, released in 2020, and is directed by Jeremy Sims, who has also directed such films like Last Train to Frio, Beneath Hills 60, and Last Cab to Darwin. And this film is starring, really, the majority is Sam Neill, but it's also starring Michael Cayton. And I'm reviewing this film because it was a screener sent over to me through gingernutsofhorror.com through a film distribution company by the name of Signature. Ginger Nuts of Horror, of course, if you've been on this channel for a little bit now, actually almost a year now since I've started my collaboration with them. It's a great website where you can go to check out anything that is horror-related, books, films, TV shows, video games, anything that's about horror. They post it on there, they review things on there, they have a bunch of interviews, a lot of great people that collaborate with that website, so go check them out. And this was a little bundle that gingernutsofhorror.com sent over to me from Signature Films, and this was one of the films in the bundle. And I thought, you know what, it's Sam Neill. I really like Sam Neill ever since I saw him in Jurassic Park, which is what that intro was all about. So yeah, let's check this one out. This one's about rams. Is it scary? Who knows? Let's take a look. It's not scary. It's not a horror film at all. Which has been happening a lot with a lot of the screener bundles that I've been getting through gingernutsofhorror.com. I'm supposed to be reviewing horror films and starting to develop my repertoire for horror films. And then I get dramatic, basic films like this one. Oh well, it was still a good time. In remote Western Australia, two estranged brothers, Colin and Les, are at war. Raising separate flocks of sheep descended from their family's prized bloodline, the two men work side by side, yet are worlds apart. Oh, when Les's prize ram is diagnosed with a rare and lethal illness, authorities order a purge of every sheep in the valley. And Colin at first obliges with the authorities, but ends up keeping a couple of sheep and a ram for himself in secret. So now Colin is tasked with raising these sheep while trying to keep them hidden from his brother and the rest of Australia. Yeah, so definitely not a horror film in any way. That's okay though, I'm definitely up for doing any screener. If any film company out there sends me a free screening or free recording of their film that they want me to review, I will gladly take it because I've said it before, I'm a dancing monkey when it comes to free films, so ching. And the first thing I have to say about this movie is that it just made me fall back in love with Australia, or at least the idea of moving to Australia at some point in my life. Always wanted to go there and develop an Australian accent because everyone that's, you know, cool in the world has an Australian accent, and that's just a proven scientific fact. And they also have some of the most beautiful wildlife in the whole world. But now that I say that, I remember that they also have like some of the most venomous and lethal and biggest spiders in the world. And yep, I remember why I no longer wanted to move to Australia. The only spiders I want to be around are just the little tiny baby ones that are on the outside of my house, doing their job, taking care of all the gnats and flies and things in the world. I get it, they're part of the ecosystem, they should be there, but you ain't gonna be in my house if you're bigger than that. Ain't gonna happen. But spiders aside, this film just reiterates just how beautiful the countryside of Australia is. So many establishing and exterior shots of the mountains, of just the fields that go on as far as the eye can see. At points they're beautiful green color, and then when you get to, I believe it's winter for them as opposed to summer for us, but winter for them and everything's just a desolate desert land. It's so weird saying that winter is so dry and hot and desolate as opposed to here in Michigan in the United States, and you know, we're just covered in snow. So if there's one positive thing that you can take away from this film is that all of the shots of the countryside are absolutely beautiful. I love it. And you can take away some pretty solid acting performances. In particular with Sam Neill, who plays Colin. He's the more kind of put together and has his head on his shoulders brother of the two. He's the one that takes care of himself, and he takes care of his sheep. He takes care of the barn. He basically cleans everything. Whereas his brother, whose house is 50 yards away from Colin's house, is the complete opposite. An absolute slob, definitely not taking care of himself. He has this hunchback that he's dealing with. He's a constant drunk. Basically, he's a great candidate for the Fab Five to come out there and just make over himself and his entire barn. And now that I say that, I really want to see Tan just go through his wardrobe and just go, oh, overalls, flannel, oh my god. Going back to Sam Neill, this whole story is basically told through his eyes. And the stress and struggles and passion and love that someone can have for hoarding sheep. You can tell that it means the world to his character. I believe they said that this is a bloodline, so this bloodline of sheep that they have are descendants from his grandfather's and his great-grandfather's horde of sheep, so it's been basically in his blood for many, many generations. And you see the love and care that he has for all of his sheep. I don't know how he's able to sustain himself and how he makes a living off of this. I mean, he takes them to, I guess, beauty pageants for rams, I guess. I don't know, they never really explain, like, how he makes a living outside of that. That's not the important thing with this film. We see this one sheep herder who just has an entire love for his sheep, way more than he does for his own brother because of something that happened in their past. I don't want to spoil what that is because I do encourage you to go see this movie, and, you know, it's a nice, heartfelt moment when the story and when the unhappenings start unfolding, you start realizing why they're estranged brothers. But then you get to the part about these rams and sheep having this deadly disease that, since they're all contaminated, basically the whole countryside is contaminated, so they have to put all of their sheep down. Both of the brothers and all of the surrounding sheep farmers in the entire countryside have to do the same. Which, for a film that came out in 2020, obviously it had to have been shot late 2019 or heck even early 2020, whenever it was. So a virus that's contracted. Don't know how, but it's contracted, and then it's just contaminating the entire countryside. Oh my god, we have this COVID-19 thing that's contaminating the entire world. How timely, movie. So it definitely caused a little anxiety in me, and it was also interesting to watch a virus that's not COVID-19 affect basically a smaller community. It was actually kind of nice to see something affect a smaller community as opposed to the entire world. But if you recall what I just said, they had to put all of the sheep down. And you know how I am with animals. I had a feeling when I started watching this film that it's one of these sheep, rams, whatever, some of them, they're going to get sick, or one of them's going to just be old, and they're going to have to be put down, and I'm not going to be okay. And I was like 1/20th correct, because all of them got sick, and all of them needed to be put down. And guess what? You get to see all of them be put down. Not okay. Not okay. Just being an animal lover myself, just seeing any harm come to any animals in a film, dogs, cats, sheep, surprisingly. It never would have made my list before this film, but then after seeing it, I'm like, yep, sheep, too. That's terrible. And it's supposed to be done by the government, but Sam Neill, because they're basically his children, he has this weird mentality that, oh, he has to be the one to do it. So you get to see this character, Colin, played by Sam Neill, go through the process, and you just see how it breaks him, and it's breaking me. Just talking about it, it broke me just seeing it. Oh my god, it's terrible. You don't see the entire thing, but gosh, you get to see a couple. So if animal violence bothers you, if harm coming to animals bothers you, there's a big chunk of this movie that is going to be very difficult for you. And it happens pretty early on, so if you can get past that, I think you'll be okay for the rest of the movie. Because the rest of the movie becomes basically a heist film or a kidnapping film, because he keeps some of the sheep and a ram in his house, keeping them at bay from authorities that come to check out on the farm, and of course his brother that occasionally comes over and tries to, you know, blast him with a shotgun. Occasionally. You know how brothers are. Overall, the story structure of the film, the acting performances are very solid. The main issue that I had with this movie, and this is one of the rare cases where I'm enjoying the film and going along, I'm loving how it's building up to this big climax, and we get to this very dramatic moment at the end, and I thought we were going to end on a very sour note. I thought one of these characters, because of just their passion for sheep herding, it was going to be their downfall in the end. And we have a moment in here where it looks like this film is just going to end on that sour note, and I actually preferred that. I thought it was a beautiful ending. But then it fades to black, and then we come back up, And we get, I know this film was shot in Australia, but it felt like all of a sudden Disney came in and took it over, or Hollywood came in and took it over, because all of a sudden we have just this beautiful, happy, everyone is good now ending. Everyone is. And it didn't make sense with how the film just cut to black and ended. Very jarring, it comes out of nowhere, and it didn't feel like it was the writing of the screenwriter. These characters are going along a trajectory that was lending itself to a certain ending, and we got there, and this film should have just ended. But then we had this epilogue-like thing, and it almost completely ruined it for me. I don't know what that says about me wanting the sad, dramatic ending here, but yeah, I would have definitely preferred it. I think it makes more sense than the Hollywood, Disney-ish crap that we got at the end. So if you are going to watch this film, and when you get to that ending scene before it cuts to black, you'll know it when you see it. I say just stop, turn it off, and you're completely done, and you probably like this movie a lot more than what I did. And it pains me to say that, because I was liking this movie a lot leading up to that, and then just that ending almost completely ruined it for me. So I can't give this a negative grade, just there's too much good here to not like this movie, but that ending, it definitely brought it down a couple of points. I'm gonna give Rams 3 out of 5 Blu-rays.
Not exactly what I had in mind, but not bad.
Alright guys, now comes my favorite part of my videos, where I pick which movie I'm going to be watching next. And the next one we're going to be reviewing is another screener from GingerNutsOfHorror.com. It's another screener bundle that they sent out. It's from Jenga Films. And the one that I've selected is a movie that looks kind of interesting, known as Red Latex. I wonder why I found it interesting. Basically, I picked this film just with the hopes that the idea of BDSM and how it was portrayed in that just shit of a movie 50 Shades of Grey, hopefully it's undone with this movie. Yes, I sat through 50 Shades. It did that whole community so much injustice. But hopefully this one is better. If any of you have recommendations of films that you want me to review on here, you can leave a recommendation below this video, or go to my Facebook page, my Instagram, or my Twitter, leave your recommendation there, and if I have access to it, I will watch, review it, and give you a shout on the channel. And if you want me to do your recommendation as quickly as I possibly can and bypass the whole random generator that I have here, you can make a PayPal donation on the main page of my YouTube channel. Any size donation will do, just attach your movie with the donation, and if I have access to it, I will watch it and publish my review of it as quickly as I possibly can. So guys, have you seen Rams? What did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, then comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell so you'll know the next time I'm releasing my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time with my review of Red Latex. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.